nearly one-third of their life as students, studying at school, eating at schools, living at schools. Schools are miniature societies filled with all kinds of relationships. And I would say the relations between teacher and students are usually the ones that affect us the most. And I believe some of you sitting here today was once impacted by the teacher at some times in your life, just as I have. I used to study in Chinese local schools, which, as some of you may know, have very different structure compared to international education systems. We had fixed classrooms, assigned seats, and sometimes a very rigid atmosphere. I was once placed into a class which was extremely quiet in every single lessons. That wasn't because students lacked things to say, but because our head teacher, a man who imposed absolute control over every single matter. He was always forcing us to listen to him on everything and never question anything. I never quite understood where his desire for control came from, just as he couldn't understand why his students were always full of ideas that he deemed ridiculous. But we simply called them imagination and creativities. He was like a Marvel set or something. Every time he stood in the front of the classroom and started to staring at all of us, I was afraid he's gonna make us disappear with a snap. And in a way, he did. He silenced our voice. I don't know if you ever read about Stephen Covey. He wrote in his book that the principle of human interaction is seeking first to understand, then to be understood. But just in contrast, most of the students now are always being told to understand the teachers, but they are rarely given the chance to be understood. But education is not a one-way street. It's more than just teachers talk and students listen. We, as students, come from diverse backgrounds and bring with us different perspectives and experiences. We are not empty containers waiting to be filled with knowledge. We are human beings with unique personalities and ideas. What we need is an environment where we feel respected and valued, a space that fosters trust and makes us feel like we matter, not just as students, but as people. As I mentioned earlier, people spend decades of their lives in schools, interacting with teachers. Teachers, on the other hand, spend their entire career working with students. The teacher-student relationship has the potential to shape someone's entire life. So, how can we improve these relationships? One key answer lies in open communications. Open communications between teacher and students is essential for a positive learning environment. It's not just important, it's crucial. Why? Because understanding on both sides plays a central role in not only academic success, but also personal growth. When we feel understood by our teachers, we are encouraged to ask questions, express ourselves, and engage in meaningful discussions, all of which lead to a more dynamic and enriching learning experience. Being understood by teachers helps students develop better self-expression, boost confidence, and foster innovation. It also reduces the pressure on teachers. When teachers know their students' needs, it's easier to make the teaching process smoother and less stressful. So, what can we do to foster open communication? Teachers should encourage students to ask questions, share their thoughts, and actively participate in discussions. And students, you shouldn't be afraid to speak up. The key to building a strong teacher-student relationship is continuous open dialogue. Whether you're a student, a teacher, or both, think about how you can express yourself and listen to others more openly. Through mutual understanding, we can create a learning environment where everyone can really strive. Thanks for listening.